I'm not even saying here they're going to announce a BRICS currency because I think that's still really far away, but more of a BRICS trading monetary mechanism that involves gold. And I think that could be a signal that Russia's giving here with this announcement. It's quite unusual for a country to announce what they're going to do. You usually don't do that if you want to keep the price down. Just like Gordon Brown pre-announced the sale of gold back in, in the turn of the century. Thursday, September 5th, 2024, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So we're going to look at a couple of important things, in my opinion, today. First one being that Russia just announced that they're going to be buying a lot of gold over the next month, starting from tomorrow. And we're also going to look at the U.S. yield curve. There's a few misconceptions about the curve inversion and recessions, but we're getting to a point where things are getting very interesting in terms of the 2s, 10s yield spread. And of course, we've got a lot of data coming out regarding the U.S. labor market, not just today, but especially tomorrow with the non-farm payroll, which is the most important statistic for the U.S. economy. So we'll look into that. Before I do, though, just wanted to give a shout out to one of my sponsors or affiliates, Dirty Man Safe. And in the world where the potential for government taking a lot of your wealth through taxation, there's talk that Kamala Harris, if elected, will have a capital gains tax on unrealized profits, which is crazy. Here in the UK, we're waiting for the budget for the next fiscal year on the 30th of October. There's a lot of speculation about wealth taxes as well, more capital gains taxes too. Loads of, confiscation, legal plunder by the state. But there's not only that going on. The rule of law seems to have gone down in value, not just here in the UK, but also in the US. Governments seem more determined to snoop on you and arrest you for saying things on social media. So I think it's more important than ever to keep your possessions safe, and that's what the Dirty Man Safe does. It's hidden protection, instant access, and these are some of the items you can store in your Dirty Man Safe. Not just your precious metals, your physical gold and silver. And again, this is just one of the options of where to store your gold and silver. I'm not saying you should put all of it in the Dirty Man Safe, but you can put password and crypto seed phrases if you're into cryptos, USB and external hard drives, important documents, electronics, jewelry, even cash, and family heirlooms. And right now, they have a promotion that if you use my promo code or my link, which is below in the description, with the Dirty Man Safe, you get 10% off. You also get a gift from them. And they will ship not just within the United States, but also to Europe. Back to, let's talk about Russia. Russia has known for many years about the bullion banks in the West and how they manipulate the gold market for the central banks in order to keep the dollar strong, the fiat currency system strong. It's not just the dollar, but also the euro, the yen, the pound, and the major Western currencies. They attended, they had one of their major economic advisors to President Putin attend a conference. I think it was in 2005 or 6. That was organized by Bill Murphy of Gold Antitrust Action Committee, or GATA.org. They've been trying to expose the manipulation of the gold price by the Western central banks and the bullion banks since 1999. So the Russians are aware of this, and they started accumulating a lot of gold back in '06, and they've been doing it ever since. Of course, Russia, I think, is probably the top gold producer in the world as well, or one of the top 2 or 3. So it has a lot of gold. And they also used gold in the beginning of the war. Well, not the beginning of the war, but the special military operation in 2022. They used that to stabilize the ruble. And we've seen that China's been buying a lot of gold, even though they have been kind of inactive since May or June. They haven't been updating their reserves, and some people are saying, oh, they're not buying anymore, the PBOC, but I think they are through other channels. But this is quite interesting what just came out here, because they've actually announced today, and this is from the Jerusalem Post here, this story, September 4th. It was actually yesterday, late yesterday. It says, Russia selling oil for gold in September. Country announces plans to use oil revenue windfall to purchase large amount of gold this month. So we've seen that NATO has kept the largesse towards Ukraine. We keep giving them war materials. We keep giving them money, and there's no stopping it. We see people, leaders like Keir Starmer, going there and saying, we're going to support you until the end, or until we get rid of, defeat Russia. And there's been that incursion into Russian territory, Kursk, and I personally think, unfortunately, the West is trying to provoke Russia, but Russia is not really, it's not really falling for it in a kinetic, belligerent way. I think the way they're doing it is financially, and this is a big part of it. The fact that they're announcing they're buying gold, and it's a relatively large amount. So let's go through this, and I'll give you the numbers. I'll translate from rubles to dollars. So it says the Russian Finance Ministry announced it will exponentially increase its gold purchasing beginning Friday, tomorrow. According to Russian news agency Interfax, the government will increase its gold purchases from 1.12 billion rubles per day to 8.2 billion rubles per day for the next month. So 8.2 billion rubles is about, I did the calculation here, it's about $92.5 million per day. You multiply that by 30, you get like $2.7 billion at $2,500 per troy ounce. That's just over 1.1 million ounces, or just over 31 tons. And don't forget, that's at $2,500. That's the equivalent to 11,100 contracts on COMEX. It's not huge, but it's a big amount. And they say here as well that Russia using oil to get gold. It says the report states the finance ministry expects a significant oil and gas revenue of 162 billion rubles in September. It's interesting, though, if you calculate 8.2 billion rubles times 30, you get like 240 billion rubles. So they're not just using their oil and gas revenues to buy gold. They're buying extra gold as well, apart from that 162 billion rubles. So I think this is interesting. Am I talking about this to tell you that you should buy gold because the gold price is going to go up because of this? No, not necessarily, even though it could help the gold price. I'm just telling you this because gold is the ultimate form of money and payment in times of trouble and war. And that's why Russia is doing this. And does it matter for us, sovereign individuals? Well, I think it does. And I'm not taking sides with Russia nor NATO here. I'm neutral. I'm like Switzerland here. I'm just trying to help you and I as individuals fighting the war that they're waging on us as well. And what war is that? Well, that's the war of currency debasement, of keeping us under their control and not allowing us to keep the fruits of our labor and making sure that the fruits of our labor or our savings retain their value. And that's the whole battle, in my opinion. My channel is, I'm not here to try to help you make a killing and become rich. I'm trying to help you here to safeguard some of the extra fruits that you've been able to put aside. That's the way I see things. You do something productive for society, you get compensated for it, and then you live your life and you try to keep a little bit of extra of that fruit, of those fruits of your labor. And if you want to make sure that you have some kind of insurance for a rainy day or when you get a lot older and you can't produce as much, then you have something that will be useful, and that will be gold and silver. And I think it's the same thing for sovereign nations in times of conflict. I think even Alan Greenspan said in times of extremis, he said, in times of conflict and chaos, there's only one kind of form of payment, and that is gold. Fiat currencies become like, something that is very fragile. And the other thing I think the Russians are pointing to, they're giving a signal to the other BRICS nations, the other nations that are interested in joining BRICS. And the timing is also very interesting, because what's going to happen in October, on October 22nd to the 24th? Well, there's going to be the BRICS conference or summit in Kazan, Russia. There's a lot of speculation they're going to talk about the BRICS monetary agreement. I'm not even saying here they're going to announce a BRICS currency, because I think that's still really far away, but more of a BRICS trading monetary mechanism that involves gold. And I think that could be a signal that Russia is giving here with this announcement. It's quite unusual for a country to announce what they're going to do. It's almost like pre-announcing that they're going to buy gold. You usually don't do that if you want to keep the price down. Just like Gordon Brown pre-announced the sale of gold back in, in the turn of the century. He should have kept quiet. But in this instance, I think the Russians are doing the right thing, because a higher gold price is detrimental to the dollar system, because it shows that the dollar is not worth as much. Its weight in gold is quickly vanishing. So let's jump to the yield curve. And I've been speaking about this for a while, and I've shown you this before if you've been following me for a while now. It says recession usually 4 months after disinversion, or after the curve disinverts. And you can see here 3 times out of 4, the recession happened after the curve went from being negative, that's the 2s, 10s yield spread, to being positive. So it's not, the recession doesn't happen when the curve inverts. It has to disinvert. And right now, we're right there. And I think tomorrow's data, the non-farm payroll data, will be very important in determining the course of this disinversion, even though right now we've been disinverted briefly over the last 24 hours. Right now, it's actually at zero. But yes, that's what I think will happen. And what that means is that the market is telling us that the Fed needs to cut rates, that there's trouble brewing in the economy. And I've been noticing the moves in U.S. yields, not just the yield curve, but the whole yield curve yesterday was down 10 to 12 basis points. And I worked in the bond markets, government bond markets, for over 20 years. And I can tell you that's not normal, such a big move. And it's not positive. People are not buying treasuries like this because everything's fine. It's because they see trouble ahead. If you see continued drop in yields, sharp drop in yields, not just today but tomorrow, and you see the two-year yield actually going below the 10 or disinverting, that's a really bad sign. It means the market is screaming to the Fed, we've got trouble. And they might even cut rates before the 18th of September. I'm telling you this now, especially if the markets get really volatile, if we see further downdraft in the stock market indices, if we see as well the dollar continue to drop versus the yen, I think that's gonna be an interesting next couple of weeks, and we could see the Fed actually come out and cut rates before the meeting. It could get really bad. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would say the probability of it happening could be around 20%. That could happen. I think they'll probably be able to wait, but you never know. It all depends on what the markets do. And so that's what's going on. A little update on Rudy. Yesterday he spent most of the day at the vets. Nothing serious. He just had a little puppy or baby tooth that wouldn't come out, so they had to extract it. We picked him up around 6 in the evening. He was really groggy, but now he's back to normal. We've been for his walk, and hopefully it will help him, because I think he wasn't chewing things really well, and it was probably bothering him. So what about the markets this morning? Well, it's 8:30 a.m. London. We've got spot gold at 2,506. It's up about $10. Near the highs here of 2,507. The low's been 24.93. Silver's up slightly, 0.25% at 28.33. High's been 42, low 19. So precious metals fairly stable here. The stock market yesterday didn't really do much. This morning here in London, they're also pretty much unchanged, I would say. And the dollar versus the yen is still holding here. We got down to 143 earlier on overnight. I saw that the Nikkei has dropped today again, about 1%. I think it's trading again in the aftermarket, but it was down 1%. So dollar holding for now versus the yen, but I would say weak data. Let's say if the jobs, labor market data that can come out today are weak, we could see the dollar under pressure against the yen again. And of course, tomorrow's number will be really important. So apart from the yen, there's not much going on in the other currencies. What about crude oil? Well, that's up a little bit here, up 0.5%. WTI just below 69.30. Brent is up 0.2% at 73.01. And a last check on the yield curve here. So we've got the 2-year yield at 3.77, and the 10-year at 3.77. So it's virtually flat. Earlier on this morning when I checked, the 10-year was one basis point higher than the 2, and that's the signal. But I guess we need to get through this even level. We need to get a lot higher, and then that will be the definitive signal that the curve has disinverted or uninverted, whatever you want to call it. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.